He'll have engage power for his team. That might be what they wanted to fix, but we'll see if he can actually carry.
All right, we're going into this game with a whole new set of compositions right here. Beyond Gaming, gonna go for something I think they're very familiar with. Some of their best pocket picks across the board are on the map this time on the blue side. Trinmere in the top, the Ari from Minji. And on the other side, we do have a very strong Engage comp from J-Team. But once again, Engage hasn't really been their forte. So we'll see if they can shift gears and pull it off this time around. I have to say I'm a little bit disappointed because they're still pretty much relying on Lil V hypercarry with this setup. We've mentioned multiple times, we just don't think he's really in the form for it right now. We'll see if he can improve himself. Taking a look at the setups here, we are going to get Grasp in the top lane, so not the Comet. And we also have Little V starting off with the Cleanse. So we really should be seeing him getting caught out as much.
You say that, but it's also very difficult for a Cleanse AD carry to deal with Alistar because all of his CC are uncleansable. So that will be something to keep track of, and the only thing he will be able to dodge would be the stun coming in from the Volibear or the charm coming in for the Ahri. But when it comes to that bottom lane, I still like the look for Wako and Kino with having that counter engage possibilities from an Alistar. And Wako, he knows how to get the maximum out of a lane, and Xayah is one of those picks. You have to get the maximum through her lane power spikes.
We are going to get a double grass start level 1, and it is going to end up as a trade that does favor Leon a little bit. He has a lot more regen coming into this lane. In the meanwhile, bottom side, the engage does go on, but this is what we see typically in the Alistar versus Leona matchup. Whoever starts first usually actually ends up losing the trade. As we can see, Kino very easily denying Enso here. The J-Team do have the shove advantage, just about to hit level 2. And Beyond Gaming will back off with a thumbs down thrown in there as well.
Yeah, and both of these supports going for the Glacial Augment approach here. And while both of these champions are perfectly fine taking it, of course, for the Alistar, he doesn't really get his extra durability until level 6. So these trades, starting from level 3,
Uniboy actually misses the kiss right here, and Husha isn't able to get the stun down. I think a little bit of a mechanical misplay on the part of Minji, where he doesn't find... he baits the distort out perfectly, but he just isn't able to find the charm, and actually overbaits and takes a huge chunk of HP right there. Konya should have the lead, as he is just waiting for the scuttles to come up. And they also know that this bot lane is now uncovered, so Konya could potentially be looking for a pathway towards the bottom lane. Let's see if Beyond Gaming are going to be aware of this one. In the meantime, Husha just going to start clearing his top side as he is behind a camp.
Yeah, it would be a teleport used by Minji early on just to get back into this lane. A little bit surprising. He essentially just gets a bit more sustained here. So Minji, honestly, in these first 2 lane phases, not looking too great. Uniboy seems to be in control, but the issue, of course, has been in game number 1, it was about protecting Uniboy. Game number 2, how can he leverage his leads, because he's on a LeBlanc, which should be a lot safer when it comes to approaching team fights, but it also means he has to be able to effectively delete members before a lot of these fights start out.
We do want to see him be able to, impact the fight and remain, I think, an aggressive, proactive posture compared to game 1. And he's doing a very good job at this. The lane trades have been going stellar for Uniboy. Once again, he dodges his out on both the Orb of Deception and the Charm from Minji. Just out-dueling him in lane completely. He does have a good CS lead here. And now we do have Beyond Gaming pushing out on this bottom side, but they don't have vision control. So we will have Husha going into the bot lane here. And a very quiet early game. So I do want to take this time to ask you, who do you think will have the scaling advantage as this game goes forward here, and if the game pace just remains like this?
I think scaling advantage goes to the side of Beyond Gaming because they are going to be able to get more and more damage with this comp, whereas on the flip side for J-Team, yes, you can output a lot of damage with this Aphelios, but he's really the only one that's going to be able to continue to scale up, and there's so many threats that he has to dodge out on. A Volibear, an Alistar, an Ahri, a Tryndamere. There are a lot of targets. It's very similar to game one with what Wako had to deal with, right? But J-Team, they weren't able to execute around that condition. However, I think for Beyond Gaming in this game, they should be able to.
Yeah, hopefully they will. I think for J-Team's sake, they get a little bit more output from Little V. In the regular split, again, he was 29, actually not 29, 26% of the team's damage, but coming into the playoffs, Uniboy has been far more important, so, they do need a little bit more as you are just running a straight tank in the top side, so we'll see which one does come to fruition. Uniboy, again, searching a chance for Distorts to come in here. We do have Beyond Gaming putting a lot of emphasis on the bot side river control. Triple pinks going down there. Fusha, in the meantime, clearing towards the top side. We'll just link up with Liang here, who actually did pop his ghost a bit earlier. I think that was a ghost just to get back into lane. Very interesting use of this one.
Yeah, of course it's on a short cooldown, and Driver, he won't actually know that it got popped, and now Liang's on the chase, has the item advantage.
We do have an extra back here from Liang, so Driver is definitely he's completely safe in this trade. He's losing because he hasn't spent his gold yet.
Yes.
So kind of expected outcome right here. He's going to go back, and we are just going to get the Warden's Mail first. Very slow game here, and once again, Uniboy able to dodge out on the charm, finds the second chain in, and in comes Kongre with the Q1. Can he find the Q2? No, he can't find it, but the tick kills him regardless. Straight up, not straight up, close to a solo kill in for Uniboy as Ignite goes through.
Yeah, perfect calculations made by that mid jungle. You can even tell Kongre doesn't take Q2, understanding, I think, that Uniboy had the kill locked up with that Ignite. So now Beyond Gaming, they're going to try and answer back with the dive bot lane. It is level 6 Volibear.
Going in with the stun, gets the cleanse right off the bat, saves for the Stormbringer, and he's in melee range with Little V. Finds the kill! Both summoners use, and Enzo has nowhere to go. Oh boy. Again, Disaster strikes the bot lane. Wako takes up the turret just fine. Fusha tries to chase this one down, but he's going to find Kongre on the other end. Enzo walks back for the stun. Very well calculated on his part.
Uniboy, another kill.
This should be a dead. Yeah. Very good handoff into Uniboy. And that's what we want to see from J-Team. Uniboy off to the races.
Uniboy once again having a fantastic start, and this time he's on a champion that can really impact these side lanes. Now 2-0, has the completed Cirque boost. There's just so much damage potentially coming out in this mid game here. If we get to see the replay, like Lil V still unable to play the game. I don't think he's gotten to really play in playoffs so far, and Enzo, he does a fantastic job pathing away, waiting for his cooldowns, buying time, and then flashing at the last moment. And he's actually able to keep his life here as we do get backup arriving, and this is also brilliant handoff to Uniboy as well.
Such a smooth play coming in from Mental. I thought he was a dead man for sure. There was no way he should have survived that one, but he does get out regardless. Meanwhile, Uniboy holding down the mid lane with the 2-0-0 is going to allow J-Team to not only swap, but take this Herald completely uncontested. We don't even have a Drake being started on the other side here. Minji does find a charm in, and Uniboy isn't afraid to go in with the double distorts. I was very surprised. He used both distorts right in front of Husha. That's how confident he is in this matchup.
Yeah, and Minji has really struggled in the lane phase so far in these two games. Didn't look great on the Vex. Of course, you can chalk it up to the matchup, but now against the LeBlanc, he's really missed every single charm that's been when the opportunity has presented itself. So need to see him perform once more when it comes to these team fights, when it comes to the objective approaches. But at the moment, like J-Team really playing around this mid jungle to a T.
Do have the two-man push in here, and Little V is caught out again. No summoners. Leon pops his ghost right out the bat, and Little V should just go down here. There's no way he should be able to survive this one. Kino will have to use his ultimate, but it doesn't matter. They're just trying to tilt the AD carry as much as possible. In the meantime, Driver goes in for the unstoppable force onto Wako. Wako with the Feather Storm will survive that one and take stock of things. It does look like J-Team we'll likely get this mid lane tower, but at the cost of just Little V is, I gotta say, he's just not up to form.
Yeah, and Aphelios is one of those champions that you need to also get a little more out of the lane phase, I feel. Otherwise, you should be looking at, again, if you want to hyper carry, go for the Jinx. Otherwise, you should look at playing the MF or the Ashe into the Xayah matchup. And so far, it's been a rough 5-game playoff run for Lil V. Fortunately for him, game number 5 for him isn't quite over, so he can still bounce back when it gets to that team fight phase. But so far, it looks like Beyond Gaming has his number as well.
I will give Little V bounce back and reclaim his former glory here. Have a big wave pushing down and Hushak going over to defend. But currently on the map, it is still J-Team in the lead. You know, we still have to make that abundantly clear. Boy and Kongra should be able to move across the map wherever they want to go. And unfortunately for me, I'm experiencing a bit of freeze on my screen here, so you might have to cue us in, sorry Frank, about what's happening as I try to sort through some of these technical difficulties here.
Yeah, and as we look at some of the power spikes, we do have the Frozen Heart now completed by Driver. It's a pretty strong item completion here against the likes of a Tryndamere and also the Xayah. So that's a good look as Kongra, he will get charmed up. Minji playing around, does have to use the ultimate though, and that'll be a big cooldown to keep track of as Uniboy now. He should have the possibilities of finding that kill once the opportunity presents itself. Driver, he's going for a 1v1. He's a level down, but he has a completed Frozen Heart against a Hull Breaker. So Hull Breaker, of course, gives you those bonus stats. And, you know, if you're going to be pushing 1v1 against a tank, it does offer you a fair amount of power because you are also running the grass, so a lot of effective HP for Tryndamere. But certainly you like your chances as the Frozen Heart Malphite. Are you back?
Thank you very much for play-by-play.
We got it.
Nightstar right there. This is thank you for covering. Kino's actually going to run forward and knock Little V back. He's caught up in no man's land, but this time around he does have help. The teleport is also incoming. Driver's looking for that juicy unstoppable force. Can't find it just yet, but they will settle for some bear meat here as they get the first kill. The Drake is still about 1 minute away, but you know, they should be able to go in for a little bit more. Kongra gets the kick off onto Wako, but Wako able to dodge out onto Driver. Now Uniboy going for the backline, gets a distort, but Minji stays alive right here. Things are getting incredibly close. Will Kino fall down? Driver looking for the Q, but Minji charms him up, and they get the kill instead. This is actually turning up to be a 1-for-1. J-Team over Chase and give a free tower to Liang.
Yeah, the moment, of course, you leave to make a teleport play against a Tryndamere, he will instantly destroy and annihilate your turret, and that's exactly what happens there. Yes, Driver able to find a great ultimate, but unfortunately, they were just too close to their tower to be able to secure the kills afterwards. It starts with Lil V looking like he got caught, but he has members rotating over. The response from J-Team is there, and then they're able to turn it on its head. Busha unable to get out fast enough. The root comes in, and there's so much CC from this J team composition. That is the real big bonus, at least in the mid game, being able to set up for the damage dealer of LeBlanc with how much CC they have. And then the re-engage comes through, but they are able to get back to this tower, and that's really the big part here. It's so hard for them to force a play once they get back to tower, and then a brilliant charm here means that, well, Driver, he ends up getting locked down and falls in a 1-for-1. J team, they will be able to answer with their first dragon of this series, Clement. I think that's a big boost for J team fans.
It definitely is. You know, drakes are still rather important if you don't want to hand over souls every single game. Beyond Gaming are going to start out on this Herald themselves, but J team this time around in a very strong position to contest. They still have the gold lead so far. You know, looking for an angle of engage. Can they find something? Uniboy going to pop into the Herald pit, try to harass here. Kongria does find the Q1, but Minji escorts them out, and now Enso is the one caught. He's very far away from the rest of his team members, but in comes Driver. Grabs him, only lands onto one player. It's not really enough from that Aphelios ultimate, and J team are going to call it quits.
Yeah, Driver just so intimidating on this Malphite. Doesn't even have the flash to make that long-range engage, but with that ultimate, still covers a lot of distance here. They have to play very cautiously for the side of Beyond Gaming, not to get stuck in these choke points and set up for very easy 2-3-man engages coming in from that big rock in the top lane. But as it stands now, J team still, again, when it comes to the early mid game, they've been able to carve out gold leads for them. It's just really about the execution around these objectives. Thankfully, Beyond Gaming, they didn't challenge J team on that second dragon, but I think they will be a lot more interested for the third dragon.
And we do have, again, another Infernal Soul on the map. This is the one that is the fan favorites. You get to do more damage with it. And I feel like both teams could use this so incredibly well. We have the Burst Wombo combo from J Team. If they get the Infernal, you know what's coming. Unstoppable Force into the Severum. You just bake Beyond Gaming in a single rotation. We'll see how they set up for their next objective. We do have a split map situation at this point. Does seem like J team have a massive overload onto the top side. Byung not going to walk up to his own tower to defend that one. In the meantime, Beyond Gaming with the Herald are going to be eyeing onto the mid lane here, forcing Little V to take the long route around his own tower here. We'll see if the trade does go down. This is a very healthy tower. Still some chances for J team to defend this one. And indeed, they will attempt this one. And so, going down, teleport. And here comes the TP. Let's see if they catch Minji. Minji already has to use a Spirit Rush. In comes Driver. Will he use the Unstoppable Force? Can he find the correct target? It looks like Beyond Gaming are able to retreat with their formation intact. And in fact, Minji actually goes in for some damage right here. Boy, not going to find the chain in. The J team do take control of the mid wave.
Yeah, and Driver still remaining to be the big intimidating target that J team really want. He's really just playing bouncer, right? Once he shows up, the side of Beyond Gaming, they just have to walk away. But it also kind of it's very hard for Driver to find value with these ultimates, right? Because of how much mobility there is on the side of Beyond Gaming. That's why you see him play pretty conservatively or cautiously with that ultimate, because he knows once that cooldown goes down, Beyond Gaming can just turn if it doesn't result in a 3 or 4 man ultimate. He needs to get a lot of value out of this cooldown. Otherwise, the mobility on Beyond Gaming is just really difficult for the side of J team to deal with.
Yeah, I definitely think that Beyond Gaming, J team are more of a one-punch type of composition. They need to go in, they need to get someone on their first rotation, back out, and probably wait for the R cooldown to come back up for Uniboy. They don't actually have a lot of good sustained damage on this composition, so that's, as you said, why they're playing so carefully with this Unstoppable Force. I do have to say, though, I feel like both TPs from Driver have actually been a little bit underwhelming. They're, not able to find any sort of engage so far. And that is a resource where Leon can pretty easily abuse with his build.
Yep. And it looks like he's also looking to go for Stridebreaker, so a bit tankier approach. A lot of sticking power onto the backline if he gets onto the backline. Of course, the backline is just Lil V. Lil V, since dying 2 times during the lane phase, has stabilized for the time being. Hasn't had a large impact, but still on the Philios. If he gets to 3 items, the pop-off potential is still there against really a no-tank composition on Beyond Game.
We have the perfect set of guns coming in from Little V, Severin grabbing him at the ready, and J-Team are in position for this fight. Uniboy also did a good job at chunking Kino down, almost forcing him to use the Unbreakable Will, and J-Team should just be starting this one up directly. Let's see how Beyond Gaming try to take the fight. They have no flanks to play with. They have to do a full frontal assault. Will they actually try to challenge? Looks like Beyond Gaming are just going to go for the mid lane tower in the meantime. Drake over to J-Team. Big win for them, and Enzo finds the engage onto Liang. Liang able to retreat, and there goes the unstoppable force. Now Minji wants to get some return damage, but not able to find the charm. Very inconclusive fight so far, but Uniboy does have that chase potential. He goes in, finds the distort onto Wako, takes him down to half HP, and Enzo still looking for the target. Korea gonna go in, but the charm lands onto Enzo. He nearly falls down. They get Kino first, and Enzo for both supports going down here. Uniboy still waiting on the sidelines. Little V still has some flash. He goes out, and Liang is out of ammunition. J-Team on the chase down. Uniboy goes into the backline, finds the carry, takes him out. The assassination is on. There's even more rotations coming in. Husha is next, and J-Team off the back of Uniboy are gonna find a decisive win into the Baron.
Yeah, it's 20 minutes now, and that means J-Team with a big team fight win, clear win there, means that they can turn their attention over to the Baron buff, and this is the series we were expecting. A lot more bite this time around from J-Team. In game number 2, they'll secure themselves a Baron and also secure themselves a 5k gold lead.
Beautiful stuff. We're going to watch again how this all started out. Beyond Gaming decided not to contest the Drake, but they funneled themselves into this fight, and they even went back for more. So, looks like Beyond Gaming were not fully calculating the ramifications of getting chased across the map by Uniboy at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, Uniboy, he's just so far ahead, right? He can continue to chase, and while J-Team, they don't manage to find a ton of damage themselves, Uniboy pretty much does all the work for him. He's just constantly playing around on the outskirts of this fight, jumping in with the distortion. This time around, the ult distortion comes up available, so he immediately uses it onto Wako, gets that clear team fight carry for them in the Xayah, and that just allows them to really break this map 2 wide open.
Do have the Baron, I believe, on 4 members, and so I'm not sure if he got that one or not, but probably doesn't matter in the very end. And we do have the Mojo book coming out for Uniboy. He's going to be building his first Magi's in this series. Definitely a sign of confidence for him. And Beyond Gaming, even though they don't have the Baron, they're still looking to equalize things. They're going to get an objective gold. Uniboy going to trade one back, and we do have a sizable lead for J-Team right now, and I don't think Beyond Gaming have the tools to deal with this LeBlanc.
Yeah, and the issue is they don't have great lockdown onto something like the LeBlanc. It really comes down to Uniboy making a mistake himself and allowing him to get collapsed upon by the CC power of the Alistar that will make things a lot more difficult for him. But again, it's really on him to play these fights out, and so far he's played them to a T, looking really like the AHQ star that we saw way back when, before he moved to the LPL.
Yeah, we always remembered him as that sort of tempo player, and he's showing up here again. J-Team gonna go for a 2-man hit squad here onto Liang. Now I'm very aware that the map is dark, and he does see the rotation in that red side ward, so he's just going to go back to his base and give over the tower. We do have a flank potentially from Kino, but he is spotted on this ward. Let's see if something happens. Graviton approaching from Little V. He's waiting for everyone to get into place, and Kino senses something wrong. Very good spider senses there from the support. He flashes the emote, gets out of harm's way, but the push is still on at this point, and still doesn't feel like Beyond Gaming. Oh, they're going to start this one. That goes in with the WQ combo, and they force the ultimate off of Driver. That's a huge one. Down into the chase. They find the charm onto Enzo. Uniboy still not into the fake fight just yet. He's going to come in, and Wako takes a lot of damage, but he's still chasing forward. They find Little V. Little V is down. That's the main damage from J-Team. They're still trying to outplay this one, but they lose the front. Uniboy, he gets the flank, but he isn't able to impact.
Oh, and once more, it's Lil V. That's the first to fall now. 0-3-2. Probably one of the most iconic J-Team members left in this roster. He's really letting his team down at the moment. Yes, it's an Aphelios, but he's just not given an opportunity to shine. But J-Team will be able to secure themselves their third dragon as we get to see the replay on how this fight turns out. Enzo misses out on the Leona E. That forces Driver in a bit of a precarious position. As a result, forced to use the ultimate. And that's just that big cooldown now gone. But Kino finds his way into the backline. 3-man knockup. That gives the opening to Liang to jump on in. They remove the only hyper carry on the side of J-Team. So while, yes, Uniboy is still alive and he is very, very scary, it's just you're not too afraid of that LeBlanc if you're really all just balled up and you're not worried about any other damage dealer.
That was... I felt like Uniboy did a good job with his positioning, but the front side of J-Team, they burned all of their cooldowns escaping from the tower shots, and that just let Little V kind of open. I don't think there was much that Little V could actually do there, you know? He didn't have his flash. Alistar flashing right on top of him, and he's just dead. So I can't really blame the Aphelios for that one. It's just J-Team, their front line, they kind of gave away a massive advantage with that Baron, but they're still in the game. And as you mentioned, they do have a massive gold lead, plus the Drake. Now, this is why I love watching Beyond Gaming, because somehow they keep on getting these scrappy wins despite being in a deficit, but they still have to overcome. Husha now going to chase down onto Driver. In comes Kino, but Husha actually takes a lot more damage in that exchange. Uniboy with the double rotation nearly takes out the front line by himself, and in comes Driver with the unstoppable force. He is going to stay alive through all of that. Liang finally shows up, but he's not able to impact the damage, and Uniboy, basically with the Driver holding down the fort, is able to beat back Beyond Gaming.
And what do you know? Driver, this time around, the fight looks completely different. Why? It's because he's ulting forward rather than backwards. Yes, the backwards all was not without good reason, but the scope of the fight changes drastically. Now, Beyond Gaming, can they get into the Baron pit to stop this Baron take?
It is a 4-for-1 Moonlight Vigil going to go down. Can they find Minji? He drops into stasis.
He's
about to die. And then we finally get a massive 4-man Blade Caller by Wako. But he's going to get chased down by Little V. That's the double kill. That's the mojo we wanted to see from our veterans right here. Liang trying to make something happen, but he's all alone. And that's going to be a wipe for J-Team. They now look uncontested against this Baron, but they are pinging down onto the base. Are they looking for a finish right here? Oh, no. They're just looking for the push. Excuse me.
I think they were really thinking about maybe they could have ended, but probably then looked at the game timer, realized it hasn't ticked 30 minutes yet, so these death timers aren't going to be quite there yet, even though they do have the waves positioned very, very well for them. The death timers are just too short for them to actually end the game. They will be able to get a lot off of it, though. 2 towers, also the Baron buff. It's just more and more gold given into J-Team, and now things start to look a little bit dire for Beyond Gaming. Yes, they've been able to find these scrappy plays, these flips that we know in LPL, like these are the risks you have to take to get yourself back in. Otherwise, the deficit will just run away from you. But just gets harder and harder. Husha, you know, he has, yes, the Zanya's Hourglass, but for the most part, it's still going to be a one-way trip for him.
I do want to point out the layers of protection Little V has bought for himself. He's got Bloodthirster GA into an extra stopwatch. I think it's pretty clear what this showcases. Nobody is actually killable on JT. You're not going to catch Unit Boy. Little V is never dying with double stasises. And then you have what's left on the board is Driver. So
yeah, and what this also says to me is that J-Team, they really want to end it on this push, right? You get stopwatch, you get GA. That means it's so difficult to kill Lil V. But if you're able to burn these cooldowns and push it yet to one more fight, that's a lot of gold invested.
Here comes the engage. Little V gonna pop into his first stasis, and Enzo going to use the ultimate massive Moonlight Vigil, but Little V is staying alive for all of that. He finally drops into the GA, but we have a kickback. Uniboy completely untouched. He's clearing out the front line. Drivers pounding the ground and destroying Beyond Gaming. That's the entire team gone, and goodbye, Liang. Full complete ace. J-Team don't lose a single member, and they get their first win in playoffs.
J-Team, they managed to clap back in game number 2. We finally have J-Team online in playoffs. It took them 5 games, but at long last they're here. And that also bucks the trend of a 6th 3-0 playoff series. I can't wait.
Oh boy, I was getting a little bit tired of those 3-0s. You know, I like getting off work to go to dinner early, but I do enjoy me some good old 5v5s. This time, J-Team go for a much more coherent team fighting composition, front to back, and they just steamroll Beyond Gaming with it. Sometimes I guess it's not about playing towards your own strengths, it's about playing towards the weak